Hey everyone, welcome to the College Lead YouTube channel. My name is Kristen and I'm here to help you perfect your college application process. I cover everything from how to plan your extracurricular activities all the way to how to write an exceptional personal statement that will wow college admission officers. Today I will be covering everything you need to know to get started on a capstone project. I will also provide a specific example with a project you can even start yourself. With that, let's get started. I'll start with covering what a capstone project is, who should consider doing one, and why you might want to start one. Then I will cover how you can get started on a capstone project with brainstorming, figuring out what you want your project to look like, and also how you might implement one. Lastly, I'll cover frequently asked questions that I've received from Slack. Feel free to join my Slack if you want to, and also from the students that I work with one-on-one. So, what is a capstone project? I hate to disappoint you, but really a capstone project is just a fancy way of calling a big project. It'll usually involve you trying something new and potentially difficult, and it'll also require you to take a multifaceted approach. A capstone project for a course that you're currently taking might require you to apply all the concepts you learned from the beginning of the school year. In this video, I'm actually focusing on the capstone projects that will boost your extracurricular activities. And in those cases, a capstone project is usually not assigned, though honestly, you may have a parent who not so subtly recommends that you do one. Long story short though, a capstone project typically involves a lot of work, but the flip side of that is that they are incredibly rewarding. I'll cover more examples on what a capstone project might look like towards the middle and end of this video. The goal of a capstone project is to boost your extracurriculars. Think of it like a vitamin supplement or a protein shake for your workout. A capstone project alone will not make you whole or guarantee you a spot in a top college, but a capstone project can help you fill gaps that you have in your extracurricular activity profile. And I'm also blocking the vitamin picture a little bit. Let me move myself 1 second. There we go. So, for example, let's say that you play an instrument and are in orchestras and have volunteer experiences and are a member of clubs like Debate Club and the National Honor Society. What you're missing is leadership. You can do a capstone project that gives you the opportunity to develop and demonstrate leadership skills, like starting a summer camp for middle school students or starting a performing arts society in your local community. You should do a capstone project if you are missing any one of these main pillars of a strong extracurricular activity profile. Those pillars are volunteering, leadership, and specific skills. Specific skills can range from anything like design to coding, public speaking, music, research, or more. If that doesn't sound familiar to you, check out this other video that I made on how to think about planning your extracurricular activities, and I'll link it up here just for your reference. You can also do a capstone project if you simply want to level up your extracurricular activity profile. So here is how to get started. What's always important to keep in mind is that when you are working on a capstone project, your main goal is to boost your chances of getting into a top college. So what that means, specifically in terms of the college application, is that you will be working towards writing an exceptional Common App activity description. If the Common App activity description doesn't ring a bell, feel free to check out this video that I'll link up here. But I'll also cover enough background for you to know to be able to continue through the rest of this video. So in your college applications, there will be a section for you to list out your extracurricular activities. You will be limited to sometimes around 150 characters for the Common App, around 200 or a little more than that for UC applications, and similarly for others. Your goal in these descriptions is to demonstrate how impressive your contribution was to each activity. A great activity description has two main components. The first component will be what you did, and then the second one will be the significance or impact of what you did. Okay, so here is an example of a activity description that I actually used in my own college applications. So let's say you ran a Latin tutoring service in the summer. So you could say something like taught Latin 2 to 12 middle school students, created lesson plans individually tailored to each, and helped them improve their letter by a grade. No, not again. I had this misspelling in the last one. This is improve their grade by a letter. the mistake was not there in my actual college application. This is just late night Kristen trying to put together material for a video, so please excuse that mistake. How you can think about this, though, in terms of what the capstone project might look like, is to break down each of these parts and think about what this means for you as you think about your own capstone project. So the first portion here to really keep in mind is you want to figure out first, how will you build this club, or what ideas do you have for this club? The next one is, how do you want to run this club? What will it look like? Will it look like a summer program, or will it look like a school year program? And will it be remote on Zoom or somewhere else? Lastly, you will also want to make sure that you are working towards a key achievement or objective that you can then highlight in your activity description. So now we have worked our way backwards from your goal of writing an exceptional activity description for college apps to what you actually need to do to be able to write it. Thinking about those 3 steps more, we have first building the club, and I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be club, it could just be any project, running it, and then the key achievement, or in the previous slide, the significance or impact. So here are the questions you'll want to then consider. What kind of project do you want to do? How will you make the project happen? And what is your mission and goal? Then, in practice, you will want to first brainstorm what ideas do you have for a capstone project. Then determine the best platform for your idea and what implementing it will look like. And then figure out what is your North Star objective, the main objective that you will be working towards. And if you do end up hitting that objective, that is something you absolutely should include in your activity description. So if I have to be perfectly honest, I didn't actually think in this structured of a way when I started the Latin summer camp back in high school. I honestly started the Latin camp to add to my leadership experience, but that general idea is a little harder to emulate. So I wanted to create this fun exercise to help you get started in thinking about your own project. I wanted to lean towards giving you the most structure and clarity as possible so that you can then break it down from here. But do keep in mind that a rigid structure like this is not at all required to implement a great capstone project. This is really just a suggestion on how you can strategically think about it. And if this format doesn't work for you, that's totally fine. Figure out what method works best for you and your own learning style. So now that you have set your goals, the next step is implementation. How to go from your plan and goals to the actual project happening is very dependent on the kind of project you choose. For instance, if you want to tutor English to first-generation students, you'll probably want to start with first finding your students and then figuring out what platform or structure works best for them. Because implementation really depends on the kind of project you're doing, I will cover one example of what implementation looks like in this video, but if there's enough interest, I'm more than happy to walk through additional examples, perhaps in another video that I would call Capstone Project 102. So let me know through liking this video and in the comments below if that's something that you would be interested in, and if so, what specific capstone ideas you would want me to discuss. Here's an example based loosely on something that I did, and this is a great example of how learning actually never stops unless you want it to. When you graduate, you always have the opportunity to pick up a new skill. So let's say that you have many different hobbies in high school, and you kind of have to put just 1 or 2 of those on pause just because of time constraints. You can always pick them up or learn new skills during college or even after college. Anyways, so here is an example of something that I did. I sat down and brainstormed and thought about, what do I want to do? For me, I want to learn a new skill, and there's several things that I would absolutely love to do. I was very interested in learning a new language, learning how to code, or learning how to dance, none of which I can actually do very well, at least at the time that I was talking about, and perhaps even now. So these were all ideas that I was very excited about. I then chose, based on my interests, that I wanted to learn how to code. So then now I have to decide what kind of project do I want to do where I can both learn how to code but then demonstrate that I have learned how to code. There were a couple of ideas that came to mind, some being a Chrome extension, a web application, or just a static HTML CSS website. What I ended up choosing was web application because that just sounded really complex and also a lot of fun and a really exciting challenge. Then I sat down to think about what my main goal looked like. I decided that I wanted to build a website that displays my GitHub projects. In terms of implementation, here's what that looked like for me. In month 1, I learned JavaScript. So I guess just to take a step back, I started this project with very minimal understanding on how to code. I took a few coding classes in college, but it's been years since then, so I really had to start from ground zero. I spent the first month learning JavaScript, the second month learning React, and then also started dabbling in different frameworks like Material UI and Bootstrap. And then in month 3, I practiced following along with different projects, and then also started to implement my own website. Just in case if you are interested in working on a project very similar to this, that is very coding based, here are a few resources that I found useful. So for picking up how to code, I use 2 main resources. One is called Free Code Camp, that is completely free. And then the second one was using Treehouse. I think it's something like teamtreehouse.com. Again, I'll link that in the description, but it's, I think, under $40 a month, so quite affordable if you're just using it for 1 month. Then when I got to practicing projects and then learning through mistakes, which is what projects are really all about, I found it incredibly helpful to follow along with a lot of YouTubers who will often post a project and also walk you through how they did it, and you can follow along and code it yourself and make adjustments and modifications based on what they've done. One YouTuber in particular that I really found incredibly helpful was Web Dev Simplified, and I'll link his channel in the description as well. So yeah, feel free to check these out if you are interested in learning how to code or doing some coding-based capstone project. A quick note that I will say is that a capstone project is, again, not easy. I guarantee that there will be many days where you just don't feel like coding, I guess, in this case, and that was the case for me. It's kind of similar to how there are days where you just really don't want to work out. But if you really want to do a capstone project and make it a priority, then you can get it done. As context, I was running College Lead in the peak of the college application cycle a couple months ago, and on top of that, I had a full-time job, so I probably spent maybe 1 to 3 hours on this project every weekday, and then on the weekends, I might spend 3 to 5 hours doing that. Obviously, it comes at a cost because now I have less free time, but this is something that I really wanted to prioritize, and it was so rewarding for me at the end of this to be able to say, I know how to build a web app. And I'm not doing for college applications. I'm done with college. It was just a fun experience to learn. But if you're in high school, this is also a really great way to demonstrate a skill, which is coding. So working on a capstone project requires a lot of discipline. It's kind of like keeping an exercise routine. You really can't just depend on pure motivation, and you have to build in a routine and have a concrete goal that you will be working towards. I will take a quick second to share with you what the web application I built looks like, and if you are curious on making a capstone project like this, I will link down my GitHub portfolio in the description, and then you can take a look at the code that I actually used to implement this simple website. So give me 1 second to switch screens. Okay, so this is the web application that I built. It's honestly just a personal website. It's like a simple, fun website, mostly just for myself, not anyone else, but it's a personal website where I can talk about what my work experience looks like and a few projects that I'm up to and some writing pieces that I've done. So if you click on any of these, it will bring you down to the different projects and blogs, as well as a contact form. You'll see at the bottom here that I've linked the source code for this project. So if you are curious at any point, you can take a look and see sort of the code that I wrote in order to get this done, and some of the libraries that I used as well. So this is more so just for the lighting. So this is more so just for anyone who actually is interested in making a coding capstone project. Feel free to check this out and use it as a starting point if you already know JavaScript and React. Back to the presentation. Here are a couple of frequently asked questions that I've received through students in my Slack channel, as well as students that I work with on a one-on-one basis. The first question is, how many capstone projects can I do at once or throughout high school? To be honest, there is really no limit, but always focus on having quality over quantity. For example, having 5 exceptional activity descriptions is going to make you come across as a more appealing candidate and stronger candidate to admission officers than, let's say, if you had 10 meh or poor activity descriptions. Next question, can I do this by myself? The answer is yes, that is always an option. You can start something by yourself or even bring along a friend if you would like. It really depends on what you want to do. So for example, if your project is huge and involves running a giant summer program like a chamber music festival, you may want to pull in another friend. On the other hand, if you're doing something small, like that web application that I just showed you, it's really just like a solo skills-based project. There's probably no point in adding someone else as well. How long should a capstone project be? So there's no set time limit because again, no one is actually assigning it to you, but you probably wouldn't call doing orchestra for 4 years as a capstone project. That sounds more like a spike if I have to be honest. So remember that a capstone project is really what you shape it to be. Let's say that you're a freshman and want to do a summer capstone project. You're probably looking at a 3-month project that might evolve into a 4-year commitment or a spike depending on how it goes. But let's also say that you're now a rising senior and it's April. You should focus on AP exams and getting as high of a score as possible in May, and then you can get started on a capstone project around June. Realistically, if you do want to apply early action or early decision to any colleges, you will have 4 months through September to get a capstone project done. So my advice for you is to think about what timeline works best for your goals and your own unique situation. Then, is a capstone project alone enough to get me into a top school? The answer is no. Remember that a capstone project is a vitamin boost. A capstone project is a really great way to fill in any gaps in your extracurricular activity profile or strengthen certain aspects you want to emphasize, like leadership or skills. Most of the time, though, a single capstone project alone won't be enough. So you want to work to continue to be very involved in your current extracurricular activities. I made another video on how you can do that, so check it out up here. And also to score well on your standardized tests and to do well in school. So that concludes this video. Please comment and like if you would like to see part 2 of this series. I am more than happy to cover more examples of capstone projects based on what ideas you're considering or find interesting. I think it would be a really fun thought exercise for me to explore those options with you and also walk you through some advice that I may have or some resources that I think might be useful for you to take advantage of as you work on implementing your own capstone projects. In the meantime, through College Lead, I offer one-on-one college prep guidance via Zoom. I specialize in helping high-achieving students like you run an exceptional capstone project, plan extracurricular activities, and write standout personal statements for internship and college applications. You can also join my Slack channel or sign up for my newsletter for exclusive tips, like something I'm working on, which is a financial aid guide. So check out my website. All that information is there. It's at mycollegelead.com. With that, thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to support my channel. That really helps me to continue making videos like these. Good luck on your capstone projects. Let me know how it goes in the comments or on any of my socials. I would love to follow along. And take care. Thank you so much.